All right. Yep.
So if I identify a problem that I have and I ask my friends if they have the problem, and some of them do, how would you recommend that startups verify if idea is good? Because we can't put in the resources, you know, going to the customers with the camera and...
Right. Well, and to be quite honest, it's actually a lower cost than you think. But yes, actually HP, we have a policy, what we call next bench, right? So any engineer, if you're working on something, your validation is the guy sitting in the bench next to you. Are you building something that they would be interested in, right? And if you can't get the guys on the bench next to you to be excited about your project, that's kind of your first gut check. But if you go around and the other engineers go, wow, that's really cool. Hey, can I get a copy of that? You know, I'd like to use that on my phone. Or, you know, when can I get an early prototype of that device? A la, my email box is full of HP employee requests for slates right now. But then to get the market validation, it is, you know, simply if you've got a small team, have every one of your team go talk to 3 people. And just say, you know, and then correlate it up. You know, if someone goes out and pitches the idea and out of, you know, you got, you know, 5 friends and they go talk to 3 people each, that's 15 data points. And if you're getting a good response from that 15 data points, then your gut check's like, okay, I'm getting this, you know. Or the question is not would you use this idea, it's like, so what would you do to improve this? How would this better meet your needs? And then use that as that also that validation and capture point of bringing that information back. You don't need to go do a study of, you know, look, this trial on the train ticket thing in India, we did 2,700 homes. You know, you don't need to go do 2,700 homes to get the market validation. You can just do it with, you know, throw a beer bash for a couple $100 on a Friday, you know, and pitch the idea and, you know, see if people throw up all over it, you know. So, you know, the key is also don't use one validation point and stop. Iterate, you know, validate as you go through, as you know, get to the next stage. Throw another beer bash. Yeah, people will come drink your beer, but, you know, the objective is get that validation. Go out and pulse the marketplace, making sure you're heading down the right path. Because there's a lot of times when people think they know the final answer, and they're just going to be mindset on that's the answer, while the whole market makes a left-hand turn, and then they find themselves off in the weeds someplace and don't have a way to get back on track. Yes?
So just following up on that, do you find that you need to, when you try to validate, do you need actually something to show people versus just telling them, describing in words?
At first, we don't have anything, so it's just words. You know, we'll do a little bit of drawings. I have 2 industrial designers on my staff, so I'm at a distinct advantage because I can get renderings done, you know, literally like that. And I've got sketch artists who will come in and sketch up storyboards and those kinds of things. But in reality, you know, think about it this way. When we run a system inside of HP called the HP Garage. It's a portal site. Any HP employee can log on to the garage and they can submit ideas for products. Right? So 320,000 employees submitting ideas purely by description. The other 320,000 employees get to vote on your ideas. So it's crowdsourcing within the 320. In that case, it's purely by describing, and that's one way that an employee can get validation. Hey, I'm thinking our customers need X. Here's why. Here's my answer to the 5 questions, you know, et cetera, and then they crowdsource it within the employee base. On the public side, on the external side, you can use sites like Brain Reactions has got a site that allows you to post ideas and crowdsource. Now, there's all kinds of, you know, someone's going to steal my idea, and, you know, all kinds of issues. Everybody's got to think about that in their own context. But there's other ways to get that kind of crowdsourcing feedback. But when we first start out, it's purely about, you know, the words. And one of the challenges we have is we also have to be careful we don't let the words mask the idea. Because one of the key skills that we find that allow for faster adoption of great ideas is good communication skills. And some of the people with the best ideas may not have the best communication skills. So we actually, when we get an idea and we think it's really interesting, I actually bring people alongside the champion on that idea and help them create the presentation, help them create the visuals, help them create the story, so that when they pitch the idea, it's going to be much more open, and the people are going to be much more receptive. So your ability to put it in words is important. Your ability to communicate it effectively in words, and you have to be a little careful that you're not getting a reaction to the words versus the idea. So try it a couple different ways. Pitch it one way, pitch it a different way, pitch it a third way, until you find the one that you're getting. At least people get, oh, I get it, but I still don't like it, versus I don't get it. If someone's saying I don't get it, it may not be the point of the idea. It may just be how you're pitching the idea, and the pitch is increasingly important. And there's a process to, when you want to pitch, like if someone's going to pitch me or you're pitching a VC, learning how to do a pitch, very important. Very important. Yes?
So I have a question around like designing for change.
Mm-hmm.
So in my experience, a lot of times CI, like contextual inquiries, are really good for understanding how people work right now,
Mm-hmm.
maybe with your system right now,
Mm-hmm.
but they might have developed workarounds to certain things so that they're comfortable with it as
Mm-hmm.
it is. And so I used to work for eBay,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a very loyal customer base, but they were very adverse to any kind of change.
Right.
Because it was like their office. So we tried to design something that was innovative and different. And the pushback we got from our customers were like, don't change anything, don't change anything. So we were trying to kind of capture a different market and, helping our customers kind of go towards something that was a little more new and modern, but the pushback was to keep everything the same.
Right, and it's the natural process, particularly when a bunch of manual workarounds get well established, right? It's not that dissimilar to, any kind of large organization just changing their IT system, right? People think about IT systems as being something that runs in some big data center and runs the operations. The reality, 10,000 Excel spreadsheets that everybody runs on their PC, which is what really runs the business. It's their, and if you change that system, it changes their spreadsheet, and that's bad. And so it becomes a real challenge. And the key is there's two approaches to that. One is you're doing a significant overall radical change versus the battle of increments. And the key is you can win the battle, but you got to win it in the battle of increments. And it's got to be the winning in battle of increments that show value at each increment. And this is not where kind of the killer or the breakthrough innovation wins. It's that ability to drive a constant change. And the real issue is creating an expectation that change is going to constantly happen. Because then people think about the context differently. If you deliver something and people get real comfortable with it and they get all their workarounds in place and then you try to apply change, that's where you really run into that roadblock. But when you constantly set that, hey, this thing is going to constantly be changing, so get ready because the change is going to happen. So think about whatever your workaround is to be flexible to accept the new change. That's where you win. And where a lot of those roadblocks come into is people just got really comfortable. Change wasn't delivered. There was no expectation of change set. People build up all these nice little workarounds, and then don't touch their workarounds. And then once they've dug in, I'd love to hear how you get people off that one, because that's like there's no magic formula versus going off and building something totally new in a completely different area and then getting people interested in doing a complete leap to something new and abandoning, but you're never going to get 100% of the people to abandon. So now you're on a two systems kind of an approach. Not a good thing either. So I don't have a magic answer because it's a constant. Well, it's like the challenge in the PC marketplace today. There's always the expectation that your old applications will run on whatever the new platform is. Right? That forces you to have an inherent legacy, that you're literally dragging along behind you. And don't change anything. So